During the investigation into the true cause of death of Gene Hackman, his wife, and their beloved dog, FBI agents conducted a thorough search of the $4 million mansion. The deeper they dug, the more mysteries they uncovered. They discovered a secret passage beneath the mansion. At the same time, authorities released the official investigation findings. A surprising truth emerged. Although it was believed the couple died at the same time, it was revealed that their deaths were actually a week apart. What happened during that mysterious week? Could the secret tunnel be the key to unraveling the entire case? All will be revealed in the following video. The mystery surrounding the triple death. Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, and their beloved dog were found dead in their home, and an autopsy has been carried out. A sheriff's detective who attended the scene suggested the couple had been dead for quite a while, based on Arakawa's decomposition and mummification of hands and feet. The male decedent also showed obvious signs of death, similar and consistent with the female decedent. A portable heater was found near Arakawa's head, which the detective speculated could have fallen when she collapsed. In the bathroom where Arakawa's body was found, authorities observed a prescription bottle and pills scattered on the counter, alongside which the deceased couple's German Shepherd was also found dead in a nearby closet. Hackman lay wearing gray tracksuit bottoms, a blue long-sleeve t-shirt, and brown slippers. Close to his body were sunglasses and a walking cane. Detectives pondered if the actor had fallen unexpectedly, but the conditions of their demise seemed suspicious enough in nature to require a thorough search and investigation. This comes after the emergency services caller discovered the front door of the property ajar. The detective, though, noted no signs of a break-in, and inside the house, nothing seemed amiss. No suggestion was found that belongings had been riffled through or stolen. Meanwhile, 2 other healthy dogs were found on the property, one indoors and one outside. The local utility company detected no signs of a gas leak, and fire services found no evidence of carbon monoxide leaks or poisoning, as per the search warrant details. 2 maintenance workers whom had found the body mentioned that they carried out occasional tasks at the residence but seldom encountered the couple in person, usually getting in touch with them via telephone or text, predominantly with Arakawa. They recounted their last communication with the couple occurring 2 weeks prior to their deaths. The discovery of one of the couple's German Shepherds, dead inside a closet just 10 to 15 feet from Arakawa's body. Why had the couple's other 2 dogs survived while this one hadn't? The lack of an emergency call added another layer of mystery. If Hackman's death was immediate, why was no call for help made? Why had his wife, who was found in another room, also perished without seeking assistance? Mystery surrounds $4 million estate. A search warrant was issued for the late actor Gene Hackman's $4 million mansion in Santa Fe after 3 dead bodies were discovered there. Upon arrival at Hackman's home, detectives found that the door to the property was ajar. However, they stated there were no immediate signs of a forced entry. The Royal Tenenbaums star Hackman and his pianist wife, who wed in 1991, had been living in the home for several decades. The actor purchased the property in the 1980s for an undisclosed amount and spent years working to turn the home into an idyllic escape from the pressures of Hollywood. Hackman's rustic-style home sits atop a hill and spreads across 12 acres. The residence boasts at least 4 bedrooms and 360-degree mountain views that stretch as far as Colorado. When Hackman purchased the home in the 1980s, he quickly set about renovating it. He preferred to interpret what's already there, rather than tearing it down to make way for a new dwelling. At the time, he described Santa Fe as having a kind of magic in it, explaining that he fell in love with the region after filming several movie projects there, and set about establishing his 10th home in the region. Hackman became so enamored with the home that he built a second property on the land in 2000, turning it into the perfect hideaway from Hollywood, where he ultimately spent much of his final years. The house was horrible. It was a 1950s block building that had sat empty and had deteriorated. But it was a great site, and the foundation had been well placed on the land. Hackman and Arakawa wanted to make the property more welcoming, so they tore down blocking walls and added French doors that allowed natural light to flood in. Hackman was extremely involved in the renovating process, and when he wasn't available to be on site due to his filming schedule, Arakawa would call him to inform him of the changes. The roof was torn down so the ceiling could be raised, and the couple added 3 extra rooms into the property by knocking down walls. The expansive living area boasts cozy furniture from around the world and large columns because the actor wanted the property to be a haven when he came back from filming. Hackman wanted the home to blend the classic Santa Fe design with touches of New York, Los Angeles, and Germany, which is where he purchased some of his furnishings. He wanted the home to come with a great hall feeling that was not closed off by walls. He confessed that his New Mexico property was totally different from his other residences because it wasn't as formal. In recent years, it has been estimated that the property is worth around $3.8 million. The actor and his wife previously owned a 3-story villa in Montecito, California, which he sold in 1985 for $5.5 million. The property came complete with a marble reception hall, a 35-foot-long living room, a dining room, an elevator, and a grand staircase. It also boasted a stunning swimming pool and sweeping views of the ocean. The Hackmans decided to part ways with the property because they wanted to move back to Los Angeles. The actor also previously owned a 4-acre property in Pebble Beach, California, which featured 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and 2 half bathrooms, all sprawled across 12,688 square feet. Hackman sold the property in 1993. He announced his retirement from acting in 2004 and retreated to his New Mexico home to enjoy a quiet lifestyle. What we have just revealed to you about the late actor's mansion is only the surface. The deeper the police dug into the mansion, the more mysteries they uncovered. It all began when the FBI, while investigating Hackman's mysterious death, stumbled upon an old, concealed passage. Tucked behind a hidden wall, the narrow tunnel led deep beneath the mansion. The air was heavy, filled with the scent of damp earth and aged wood. Dust-coated crates lined the walls, some sealed, others crumbling with time. Inside these crates, agents uncovered aged photographs showing shadowy figures. More disturbingly, mysterious vials were discovered, some sealed, others showing signs of use. But the biggest surprise came when they discovered a heavy, rusted iron door, tightly sealed and handleless. Some believe the tunnel was built as a hidden retreat. Others suspect it could lead to concealed underground chambers, possibly connecting to other properties, hinting at a larger, secret network. Authorities have raised many doubts and possible scenarios related to the tunnel. Could it have been one of the reasons behind the sudden departure of the family? While everyone was filled with confusion, the police officially revealed the true cause related to the Hackman family's departure. And it seems the tunnel did not play a significant role. What happened on that fate day? Around 1:43 p.m. on February 26th, a maintenance man who had done work on the Hackman home for years visited the property and found the front door ajar. He peeked through a window and saw Arakawa lying on the floor. He then notified another maintenance man who works for the subdivision, who called 911. Paramedics with the Santa Fe Fire Department arrived at the scene, pushed open the front door, and saw Arakawa lying on the nearby bathroom floor. Chief Brian Moya said. She looked deceased, so they retreated back outside and radioed the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office for backup. Backed by several sheriff's deputies, the 2 paramedics and 3 other Santa Fe firefighters inspected Arakawa's body, which had noticeable signs of decomposition. A bottle of prescription thyroid medication was on the bathroom counter, loose pills spread across the countertop. The first responders then fanned out through the sprawling 4-bedroom home, meticulously checking bedrooms, hallways, bathrooms, and closets for other people or signs of foul play. 30 minutes passed without a sign of anyone else. As they searched, one of the couple's dogs kept running up to them, barking and running off in a different direction, he said. At first, paramedics thought the dog wanted to play. Then they realized it wanted them to follow. They realized the dog was trying to say, "Hey, come over here! Come over here!" The dog led them to a mudroom in the far end of the home, next to the kitchen. It then sat next to the body of Hackman, who was crumpled on the floor. Sunglasses and a cane laid nearby. His hands were blackened and showed signs of decomposition, Moya said. A back door was propped open, allowing the dogs to go in and out of the home. Firefighters went through the home and 2 detached structures on the property with handheld 6-gas monitors, measuring oxygen levels and looking for signs of harmful gases, such as carbon monoxide. The readings were nothing out of the norm. The gas company later did its own inspection and also found no harmful levels of gases. First responders noted how clean and organized the home appeared. It was very neat, organized with no clutter. The 2 surviving dogs, Bear and Nikita, were rounded up and transported to a local pet daycare facility. Hackman's and Arakawa's bodies were taken to the State Office of the Medical Investigator at the University of New Mexico for autopsies. The mystery is unveiled. The actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were rarely apart from each other, and it's that closeness that may have led to the circumstances of their deaths. Arakawa had become Hackman's caregiver in his later years when he developed Alzheimer's disease and became incapable of carrying out even the simplest of tasks. She ran the household errands, made sure he remained active and protected him from illnesses. Authorities in Santa Fe revealed that the couple had died of natural causes, Hackman from heart disease and Arakawa from a rare viral infection. Arakawa died first, perhaps on the 11th of February, when she was last seen or heard from. Investigators said in a press conference that Hackman was likely unaware that his wife had died. He would have been alone in the house for days, disoriented and too frail to seek help. His pacemaker last recorded his heartbeat on the 18th of February, which indicates that he died about a week after his wife. Hackman's heart showed signs of previous heart attacks, a pacemaker and multiple heart surgeries, as well as a scarred kidney due to chronic high blood pressure. Hackman's cause of death was cardiovascular disease. He also had advanced Alzheimer's disease, which contributed to his death. There is microscopic evidence was revealed in the patient's lungs. Arakawa tested negative for COVID-19 and influenza, but positive for hantavirus. Cause of death: hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Her lungs had crashed as the virus branched through her body. Their decomposing bodies were discovered on 26 February when a maintenance worker called security after no one answered the door. Emergency responders found Arakawa on the bathroom floor near spilled pills and a medicine bottle. The pills were identified as an unspecified thyroid medication, Tylenol, and the high blood pressure medication diltiazem. Her body showed signs of mummification, which suggests she had been dead for some time. Zinna, one of their 3 dogs, was found dead in a crate in a closet. Hackman's body, wearing slippers, was found in a mudroom near a cane. New Mexico's chief medical examiner confirmed that Arakawa had succumbed to hantavirus, a rare and often fatal illness contracted from exposure to rodent droppings. Hackman's Alzheimer's, combined with his declining physical state, was listed as a contributing factor in his death. Autopsy examination and a full-body post-mortem CT examination demonstrated no acute findings of internal or external trauma and showed severe heart disease, including multiple surgical procedures involving the heart, evidence of prior heart attacks, and severe changes of the kidneys due to chronic high blood pressure, said Dr. Heather Jarrell, New Mexico's chief medical investigator. Authorities are still waiting for the dog's necropsy results. During the press conference, New Mexico State Public Health veterinarian Aaron Phipps said it is a possibility that the dog, Zinna, died of dehydration and starvation. The final days. The exact details of that final week remain unclear. Friends and neighbors told the media about how the couple had increasingly withdrawn from public life, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Arakawa had taken mighty precautions to avoid exposing Hackman to illness. She often wore a mask in public, and surveillance footage from 11 February showed her visiting a Sprouts Farmers Market, a CVS pharmacy, and a pet food store in Santa Fe before driving back to their gated community around 5:15 p.m. After that, she was never seen or heard from again. Investigators believe she stopped checking her emails that evening, and no further communication was recorded. The sheriff's office found no evidence that anyone had been caring for Hackman besides Arakawa. There was no food in his stomach, which means he had not eaten recently. Hackman's decline starkly contrasts with the life he had once built. The Oscar-winning actor moved to Santa Fe in the late 1980s after divorcing his first wife, and quickly fell in love with the city's landscape and artistic community. He had already won an Oscar for his role in The French Connection in 1971, and would later earn another for 1992's Unforgiven. Arakawa, a classical pianist from Hawaii, met Hackman while working part-time at a Los Angeles fitness center. When Hackman forgot his entry card one day, Arakawa refused to let him in. That encounter led to a relationship that bloomed despite their 30-year age difference. As time went on, Hackman's health visibly declined. Obviously, he was 95, so he was slowing down. And after COVID, he was more reclusive, protecting his immune system and everything else. Two of the couple's family friends, Daniel and Barbara Lenehan, along with their son Aaron, told People magazine that Hackman had become essentially homebound in recent times and had stopped riding his bike through the neighborhood. Betsy tried to keep him kind of active and engaged, adding that Hackman did puzzles and yoga via Zoom daily. She was still trying to keep him as active and engaged and healthy as possible. Daniel and Barbara Lenehan noted that in the last couple of months, the late actor was really slipping there. Their privacy, much valued in Santa Fe, may ultimately have contributed to their tragic deaths. A rare but deadly rodent disease. First discovered in 1993, the hantavirus began spreading from the southwest to across the U.S. Humans contract it by breathing in aerosolized urine, feces, or saliva from a rodent. In New Mexico, the tiny deer mouse is usually the culprit. Cases are rare. As of 2024, New Mexico had seen only 136 infections over the past 50 years, with just 5 of those in Santa Fe County, according to Aaron Phipps, the state public health veterinarian. Dogs don't get the disease, and the strain found in the U.S. can't spread from human to human, she said. Symptoms are akin to getting the flu: body aches, fever, abdominal pain. But the disease could quickly turn deadly. After incubation, the virus for anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks and up to 8 weeks, an infected person's lungs will begin to fill with fluids that escape through capillaries, triggering coughing and shortness of breath, said Greg Mertz, professor emeritus of internal medicine and former chief of the Division of Infectious Diseases at the University of New Mexico. Hantavirus has a staggering mortality rate of between 35% and 50%, according to health officials. Unfortunately, it could progress to cardiogenic shock over a period of a few hours, he said. Even in a hospital, most deaths occur within the first day. During cardiogenic shock, the heart stops pumping adequate blood supply to the organs. Blood pressure plummets and the patient lapses into cardiac arrhythmia, or an irregular heartbeat. From there, it's very difficult to save an infected person, Mertz said. The virus is difficult to detect, as many of the symptoms are akin to the flu, he said. There is no medicine to combat it, and once it spreads, it's hard to stop it from overwhelming the body. Mertz said he was treating a patient once with hantavirus at University of New Mexico Hospital. The patient was sitting on a hospital bed and began complaining about feeling ill. Their blood pressure dropped and they went into shock, he said. Within 20 minutes, the patient was dead. It's a pretty horrific progression, Mertz said. There aren't a lot of diseases with higher mortality rates. Long-lasting love. In Hollywood, where relationships often flicker out as quickly as they ignite, the enduring bond between Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa stood as a testament to lasting love. From a chance meeting at a gym to their final days together in their New Mexico home, the couple shared nearly 4 decades of unwavering companionship. The seeds of their romance were planted in the 1980s when Hackman, fresh from his divorce from first wife Faye Maltese, crossed paths with Arakawa at a gym. The 25-year-old classical pianist was working part-time at the fitness center, while Hackman, already a household name, was navigating the aftermath of his split. Despite their age difference, sparks flew, marking the beginning of a quiet yet passionate partnership. By 1989, the couple had settled into a life far removed from the glitz of Hollywood. They built a home in Santa Fe, New Mexico, a retreat where they could escape the constant scrutiny of the limelight. Arakawa played an instrumental role in designing the house, collaborating with architects while Hackman was away filming. Their life together was filled with simple pleasures, movie nights, tending to their beloved dogs, and enjoying the serenity of the desert landscape. In a rare interview, Hackman described their lifestyle as one of peace and quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos of Tinseltown. In 1991, Hackman and Arakawa made their commitment official, exchanging vows in an intimate ceremony. Their union was built on mutual respect, with Arakawa supporting Hackman's transition from acting to writing following his health struggles. The couple's love for animals also became a defining aspect of their life together. After finding 2 stray dogs on the set of The Replacements, they adopted one, a German shepherd named Gene, while naming the other Keanu in honor of Hackman's co-star, Keanu Reeves. Even in retirement, Hackman's admiration for Arakawa never wavered. In a 2014 podcast interview, he credited her for shaping his second career as a novelist. "If I have a style, it came from my wife's unwavering specific read-throughs," he said. Their last public appearance together was in March 2024 at a Santa Fe restaurant, a rare glimpse into their private world. Witnesses described Hackman as grizzled but in good shape, still finding joy in life's simpler moments alongside his wife. On February 26, 2025, the world was stunned by the news that the couple had been found dead in their New Mexico home under mysterious circumstances. No matter how their lives end, one truth remains clear. Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa shared a love that endured life's highs and lows. In a world where celebrity relationships often crumble under pressure, theirs stood as a quiet testament to devotion, respect, and the beauty of finding your forever person. Their story will be remembered not just for its tragic ending, but for the decades of unwavering love that defined it. Gene Hackman's heartbreaking confession about his family and children. Despite his celebrity status, Gene's private life was marred by a difficult relationship with his offspring, something he later acknowledged with a heart-wrenching admission. Gene had been leading a quiet, secluded life after withdrawing from public view over 20 years prior. Born on January 1930 in San Bernardino, California, Gene weathered a stormy early life before discovering his passion for acting. He tied the knot with his first wife, Faye Maltese, in 1956, and they had 3 children together, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. However, their marriage dissolved in 1986 after nearly 30 years of togetherness. In 1991, Gene wed classical pianist Betsy Arakawa, and they remained a pair until his passing. While his career was studded with remarkable accomplishments, including unforgettable roles in The French Connection and Superman, his personal life was often fraught with difficulties, particularly his strained relationship with his children. Gene once confessed that his career took precedence over his family life, which resulted in his children feeling alienated from him during their crucial growing years. Back in the year 2000, Gene spilled some personal beans. I couldn't always be home with them when they were growing up, and then, living in California, they've had my success always hanging over their heads. Fast forward to 2012, and Gene poured his heart out in an interview about the family time he'd missed. When quizzed on what fatherly wisdom he'd passed down, he admitted, "I lost touch with my son in terms of advice early on. Maybe it had to do with being gone so much, doing location films when he was at an age where he needed support and guidance. It was very tough for me to be gone for 3 months and then come home and start bossing him around." Gene's clan includes his eldest, Christopher, who's also his only lad. Gene's once hinted that the boy had dreams of chasing the acting dream, just like his old man. Chewing the fat with Magazine back in 2020, Gene reminisced, "My son thought he wanted to be an actor at one time and was in New York, and I wrote him a couple of little monologues. I guess that's where I started. I really enjoyed it. Ideas would just pop into my head, and I would write them down." After hanging up his acting boots in 2004, post his last gig in Welcome to Mooseport with Ray Romano and Christine Baranski, Gene bunkered down in Santa Fe, New Mexico, with Arakawa escaping the glare of Tinseltown. Seldom stepping into the limelight, the latest peek we had of Gene was in 2023, when he was snapped near his digs, looking chipper and hands-on while tending to his garden. Consequently, Gene's offspring have largely stayed away from the limelight, with scant information about their lives making it to the public domain. What we do know is that Christopher, now a sprightly 65, had a brief stint in the film industry as a camera operator and reportedly also ventured into computer programming. He's hitched to Marian Ann Hackman, but details about their brood remain under wraps. Gene's daughter Elizabeth, now 62, has dabbled in broadcast journalism and screenwriting. The youngest of the lot, Leslie, aged 58, was spotted alongside her father and sister Elizabeth on the red carpet during their formative years. The Hollywood giant. While waiting for the authorities to release their final statement on the cause of death of the Hollywood legend and his wife, let us take a moment to reflect and honor the man who made tremendous contributions to the arts. Best known for playing cantankerous, often volatile characters who exude a virile and dangerous energy, Gene Hackman was one of a generation of young actors who shook up Hollywood in the 1970s with his gritty, raw approach to performing. Born Eugene Alder Hackman on January 30th, 1930, Hackman came to acting late. He was 30 after he had been discharged from the U.S. Marine Corps. He had signed up aged 16, trained as a radio operator, and did tours as a disc jockey in the Pacific, that he began to take acting classes at the Pasadena Playhouse in Southern California. There, he met another actor hopeful, with less than movie star looks, Dustin Hoffman. Both were voted least likely to succeed by their classmates. Undeterred, they moved out to New York to pursue stage work, for a time rooming together with a certified public accountant named Peter Falk. Hackman drove a moving van to pay the bills. Hackman got his first stage role in 1958 in an off-Broadway production of Chaparral. TV work followed, and finally films. His big screen breakthrough came playing Clyde Barrow's older brother, Buck, in Arthur Penn's Bonnie and Clyde in 1967, which secured him his first Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. He was nominated again for Gilbert Cates's I Never Sang for My Father, playing a son whose aging dad becomes dependent on him. But it was William Friedkin's The French Connection that made Hackman a star. The cop thriller about a narc trying to track down an elusive drug smuggler was revolutionary for its time. Friedkin, who started in documentaries, abandoned film sets to shoot in the streets of New York, creating a new sort of gritty realism. In the film's iconic chase scene, for example, Popeye Doyle races underneath an elevated train through the crowded city streets. A scene was shot with no permits, with the stunt driver, Bill Hickman, racing across Brooklyn at 90 miles an hour. Hackman, with a face that showed highway miles and a gruff manner to match, was a perfect fit for Friedkin's approach. Years after the film's release, Hackman would recall that, "People on the street still call me Popeye. I wish I could have another hit and a new nickname." In the 1970s, Hackman made film after film, including big-budget disaster movie The Poseidon Adventure in 1972, Francis Ford Coppola's paranoid thriller The Conversation in 1974, a French Connection sequel in 1975, and Richard Attenborough's World War II epic A Bridge Too Far in 1977. Most performances played on the hard-nosed, no-nonsense personality perfected in French Connection, but Hackman also showed signs of comic genius as the blind hermit in Mel Brooks' 1974 classic Young Frankenstein, or as the smarmy nemesis Lex Luthor in Superman, 1978, the first and still one of the best superhero movies. In later years, he added more serious turns to his repertoire as high school basketball coach Norman Dale in Hoosiers, 1986, the sleazy politician in political thriller No Way Out, 1987, or the cynical, mobbed-up tax lawyer in The Firm, 1993. He'd offer touches of humor that deflated his on-screen persona, playing a sleazy movie producer in Get Shorty, 1995, a right-wing senator in The Birdcage, 1996, or the stripped-suited patriarch of a dysfunctional family of geniuses in Wes Anderson's delightful The Royal Tenenbaums, 2001. His turn as a racist FBI agent in Alan Parker's anti-segregation drama Mississippi Burning, 1988, earned him his second Best Actor Oscar nomination. Throughout the 1990s, it was hard to find a single political thriller that didn't rely on Hackman's gravitas and imposing presence, from Crimson Tide, 1995, and Extreme Measures, 1996, to The Chamber, 1996, Absolute Power, 1997, or Enemy of the State, 1998. But Hackman did not wear fame lightly and never seemed comfortable in his role as leading man and Hollywood star. He repeatedly stepped away from the limelight, taking a sabbatical at the end of the 70s, turning down a chance to play Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs, 1991, and often agonizing about his career choices. Clint Eastwood had to convince Hackman to take on a role as the violent, if bemused, Sheriff Little Bill Daggett in his revisionist Western Unforgiven, 1992. Hackman recalled telling Eastwood he didn't want to do a violent picture. "I'm tired of it. I've been involved with a lot of them," the director in a 2009 interview recalled Hackman telling him. "I said, I know exactly where you're coming from. Read it again because I think we can make a really great statement against violence and killing if we do this right." The role won Hackman his second Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. In 2003, after being honored with the Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Golden Globes and giving a comic turn in Welcome to Mooseport, 2004, as a former U.S. president who runs for mayor in a small town in Maine, Hackman retired from acting to write novels. His books included historical fictions Wake of the Perdido Star, 1999, Justice for None, 2004, and Escape from Andersonville, 2008. The Western revenge thriller Payback at Morning Peak, 2011, and the police thriller Pursuit, 2013.